Welcome to the 24K Life Podcast. I'm your host, Derick Gant, the money coach. Listen, we are broadcasting across the globe to help every man, woman, and I bet you Calvin helps children too, but every man, woman, and child, in addition to entrepreneurs, get ready to go through the fire that will turn them into pure gold. We can develop at a level that brings the best, just like gold. We call it cracking your code. Cracking your code is when you figure out what you need to improve on, and then you actually go through the fire to get that done. You can know but not do, and you're still going to be in trouble. You know, you have to get over things like procrastination, paralysis by analysis, being lazy, sitting on the couch, eating chips, getting over limiting beliefs and blocks. You know what? So what we are here to do, our purpose, our mission, our intent, our goal is to bring you experts that will help you to do that quicker. Nobody wants to go through everything. Let me tell you, we bringing in this cat. My man is aggressive, and I love it. Now I'm going to tell you why in a little bit, but we're bringing you a cat, Calvin Tedesco, from the West Coast. He's gonna bring the world up to date with what's popping, right? And so inside of that, we want to bring you people that will help you get there faster. I'm a little older. I don't have time to try every little thing out. I need people like Calvin in my universe to say, look, you're old and you need to do this to still look good and to be good. And that's what we're here to do in the 24K Life Podcast. And we are excited to bring Calvin aboard. Calvin.
Yo, what's up?
What's good, my man?
Man, thanks for having me here. Yo, you have no idea how cool this is for me, because I'm literally reading your book every day right now, and then I'm talking to you on the damn podcast. This is
my man.
So
See,
cool, bro.
And that's what I was talking about, being aggressive. So somehow we crossed wires, or I didn't get back to him. Something happened, and we didn't do our interview. So Calvin hit me up on social and was like, yo, bro, what's good? And he didn't even hit me up. Let's be honest. He did a post and he was like, yo, I'm reading this. Yeah. I'd love to talk to the author. He kind of ignoring my ass. Bruh, what you gonna do? It was perfect though. I loved every second of it. And we booked that morning, didn't we? It wasn't even 9 o'clock yet. And we booked. I got That's you right. on. And we're going to have you tell us, man, and I've been wanting to have you on because I haven't had any fitness people on yet. A lot of mindset coaches and a lot of, I can help your life be better, which is great, type coaches. But no one that has stepped up and said, look, let me tell you what's the latest and greatest. And I got some questions for you, but I'm going to let you tell us a little bit more about your background. You have an interesting background. Tell us how you got where you are.
Oh man, look, well, first and foremost, fitness changed my whole life. And that's the reason why I do what I do. And that's the reason why I'm just so dedicated. Like I was saying earlier, I'm up at 2:30 in the morning and I'm doing this mission every day. And I don't trip about it because I love what I'm doing. And this is what changed my life. And this is what I teach to other people. Mm-hmm. I learned how to work out when I was in a juvenile detention center at 15 years old. Okay. And once I seen that new way of living, I was like, man, I got to stick to this. And my situation on the outs, what we call it, being on the outside of jail, wasn't so good. I hate to talk bad about anybody in my family. I got to say, like, my dad is the hardest working man I've ever met in my life, but both my parents were addicts. Okay. And so they were struggling with addictions. As awesome, amazing people as they are, I mean, anybody can struggle, anybody can suffer with that stuff. And it really had us in a bad spot. By the time I was 15, I think I was 13 when we moved there, but by the time I was 15 years old, we're living in a trailer park. It's just tons of addictions, crime around me. And my brother had been killed already. My brother died when I was 11. So we were all growing up in this craziness. A lot of my friends, we done lost our older brothers to it, so it's insane. But so I went to jail at 15 for stabbing somebody in the face. I was living in a bad way. And but I learned something positive there, how to work out. And so I really wanted to change my life and pursue this passion further. But
Right.
I got released from jail early because I was on good behavior.
Right.
And yeah, I was killing it. I was stoked about it.
Right.
And but they released me, and they probably shouldn't have, because my situation on the outs was worse than my situation in the jail. So I actually went
Right.
back to jail, did a straight year, and I was
How,
stoked to
how
do
old were you at that point?
I was 16.
Okay, so you got out pretty quick then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, I was 16. I went back to jail for a robbery. I was there for 1 year, and I was stoked. I was like, this is 1 year for me to work out, get good grades. And that's when I first started getting into personal development books. It was during that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And my eyes were just becoming open to all these positive ways of living. And I just wanted to do more and more of it. And luckily, I got the situation to live in another city and pursue this as a career.
Nice, man. So what book influenced you the most when you were 16, 17, and why?
Oh, man, you're going to love this. It's hilarious. So I was in the library, right? Been to the library lots of times. I'll get off the unit for any purpose, no matter what we're doing. We just want to get off the unit and do something different. So if we're going to the library, I'm like, let's go. And so I'm looking in different books. And like, I've been to the library so many times. I don't know why I never seen this section, but the personal development books.
Okay.
I was like, what is this? I didn't know people wrote about this kind of stuff, like how to improve your life. And I kid you not, man, the first book I read was like Dr. Phil or something. And I was like, at the end of the book, I was like, man, I wasn't too impressed, but I was stoked on the fact that this is cool that people write about this.
Right.
Stuff.
There was a whole section on it. So
yeah,
that is hilarious, man.
Dr. Phil, man, that was my first one.
Wow.
I remember him saying something like, pull the trigger or something like that. I'm like, you don't want to be telling these youth to pull the trigger, bro.
You're like, nah, I'm done pulling triggers. I'm done pulling triggers, Dr. Phil. I can't be doing that no more. That is too funny, man. So you got out, and what happened when you got out the second time?
This is insane. Like, so I'm living in a different city. I'm in BC over here in Canada. I was living in Surrey. That's where I was born and raised. And then I had switched jails. I was in a jail in a city called Burnaby.
Okay.
I was transferred to a city called Prince George to do a work program. So I was actually going to get to work over the summer, like in forestry and stuff. So they trained us up to be able to do it.
Right.
And then they looked at my charges and they're like, oh man, this guy's got violent charges. We can't let him out with the chainsaw and stuff like that. Like, we better not let him out. So I was pissed. I wanted to go home, but what ended up happening is they made my release plans for there, and I wasn't impressed with the plans at all until a teacher that I was close with, she had seen something in me because, like I said, I was working really hard in school, getting good grades, always working out, just staying on top of everything. That's how I like to live my life. And she was like, you would do good in this program, the TAPS program. So they actually took me on an outing where I could leave the jail with the, in like relatively, street looking clothes. And then I look kind of like a normal kid. And then I'd go into the school, meet the teachers and see and I met a teacher named Sue McDonald. And this lady was running the fitness program. And I was like, this is going to be the best. She's telling us how we run early in the morning. She runs the program like we do this workout and this. And I was like, man, whatever I got to do to go here, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And so I had to actually go into another program after my jail sentence that was pretty similar to being in another jail. Like I had like an alarm on my door. I can't leave the house when I want. Like I still had restrictions on me where I had the opportunity to actually get out of jail and be free aside from probation and stuff.
Right.
But I ended up putting myself in these programs so that I could pursue this education. And that decision alone changed my whole life, man. I was living in another city. And that school, that teacher led me to go into kinesiology and led me to go post-secondary school where I could actually get a degree in kinesiology and become a personal trainer. And that bridged into what I'm doing now, where I actually get to teach all of that stuff, the personal development, the fitness.
Yeah,
everything.
man. Now, do you have any other siblings? You have younger siblings?
Man, I don't have very many siblings. My oldest brother died when I was 11. He was shot.
Yeah.
And then my other brother, I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I was wondering if they've been watching you and seeing you progress and bloom. But, it's good. You were blessed. I'll tell you what, man, I was watching. I'm like this freak. I don't like TV per se, but I love like documentaries. And so I was watching this documentary on George Foreman, Big George Foreman. It's on, I think it's on
Yeah.
Netflix. Dude is so similar to what you're saying, man. He almost got kicked out the program and he was crying like, I can't go home. My mama won't let me come home. And so it's a great story for you. And for you, you went off and got a degree in something most people can't even wrap their mind around, which is kinesiology. So how do you use that now in your profession?
Well, I think the kinesiology gives me a huge background of knowledge on the human body, the muscles, the movements, but I've actually had to like unlearn a lot of stuff because school is like all academic.
Right.
But I'm not teaching academics. I'm teaching like normal, everyday people. Like,
Right.
you know, the mom that has kids and a full-time job, or the kid that's just getting out of high school and getting into his new career or whatever, or anybody like maybe the 30-year-old man he's got a family and kids. He's like, man, I'm really not in the shape I need to be in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not being an example I need to be. And so I'm teaching these people. They don't know none about all this stuff. So I have to like really keep it in the background of my head, because what it really does is it helps so that when you're pushing people, you're doing it in a way that's safe so that they don't get hurt or something. They do it long term. And actually, I've been able to teach people how to lose weight and then keep it off, because a big part of weight loss isn't really the losing of the weight. Like anybody could lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds, but how are they going to keep that off forever? Yeah, so that's where I tap into some of that stuff for sure.
All right. So you don't have to give away the secret sauce, man, but that is huge, man. So I'll tell you what, we'll save that. Let's go back with what do you think the average person that comes in and pays you, so they're coming out of their pocket to get in physical shape? I know they don't all do it. So what do you think is the biggest roadblock for people, to really make a transformation and keep it? So like we'll get into the keep it later, but just to make the transformation.
Oh man, like there's a lot that goes into it, and every body is different. Mm-hmm. And I would say that the person that sticks with it and actually perseveres is the one that can commit to showing up every day.
Okay.
And so whatever roadblock they got, like a lot of people haven't stuck to anything for a length of time.
Their whole life they ain't done shit. They just like, I'm gonna try it. I don't like that. I'm gonna try it. I don't like that. I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, so they've got to be able to stick to it. And the biggest disservice and again, this is where I kind of had to like unlearn some of the stuff from kinesiology. Not unlearn, but I really had to focus on how to help them mentally get over those roadblocks, because like what's really preventing them from showing up every day is something in their mind that's like telling them like, I can't do it, or this is too hard, or I don't know if this is good, or it's like they're stuck. Like even though they hate the position they're in, there's like some kind of comfort in it.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely comfort in commonality, right? So they've been like that for a while. They didn't get like that overnight. And there's comfort knowing what you know. But I try to tell people like, and I'm sure you do this. When you start them off, man, you're not having them bench pressing 2 1/4. You're starting them off slow, because when they do it, then they have this pain, and that gives them the excuse, well, I can't do that. I can't even go back yet. I can't lift my arm up yet. And, I think if people could get to the point, and you tell me, but if people could get to the point to where they can show up and they're starting to see some results, fitness, man, getting sexy. I saw some of your composition pictures. It's addictive.
Yep.
But you got to get to the addictive part.
That's right. Yeah. So one of the main things I like to do is just get people going through the motions. I kid you not, I've had people lift like a wooden dowel instead of a weight, and just do the exercises with like no weight at all. Like it's like a broomstick. And I'll have them do that kind of stuff. And then just very, very light weights, because someone who's completely untrained, you could have them do like a few sets of body weight squats and they'll be like toast for a week.
Yeah,
like
they
can't even sit down. You're
their ass hurts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, but do you think that there's when you work with all these people, men, women, whoever you're working with, do you see any commonality in the ones that can grit it out and the ones that quit, or not really? There's not really I'm just thinking about this for myself financially.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess I really can't think of a unifying reason why people just quit, other than they just weak.
Yeah, I think, it's who can call themselves on their own bullshit excuses.
Yeah.
And they might not start off able to do it, but I found like even this year has been a huge learning experience for that. I'll spend some time with like certain clients, even just go for a walk and just talk to them and just listen to them talk. And like sometimes like they might hear themselves say something and they'll be like, I'm making an excuse right now.
That's
And
the best client ever.
Well, when they start to realize that their own excuses, that's the biggest change. That's when they, like I had a client this morning. She came in and she forgot her program. So she's like, hey, I'm just going to do like some cardio and abs today. And I'm not even, I was cool with it. I'm like, yeah, it sounds good to me. And she was like, nah, you know what? That sounds like some bitch shit. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do a full workout. And I was just like, holy smokes, this girl's crazy right now. Because she just started this year, man.
But where do you think she got it from?
It must be the community. Like this is the environment we've
She
created,
got that from you, bro. She got that from you, right? I mean, let's just be honest. She got it from you. She didn't get it from the community. The community is looking for the easy way out. She got that from you, man. You're the one that's in her ear and working with her. And I have clients tell me, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, probably the same thing you said. I have clients tell me all the time, it's like, oh, I was in the store and I was getting ready to buy something. And I was like, I heard you in the back of my mind going, do you need it or do you want it? And they said, I put it back and I didn't even miss it once I got home. And I'm like, there you go. So they hear you in the back of their head and they're like, yeah, he's right. And I need to, if I really want to be better, I need to go hit this right and not waste this workout time.
Yo, that's a good point, actually, because I can still hear my coaches in my head. Like if I'm running up a hill or something, I can still hear them yelling at me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's funny, man, because I hear, I haven't played ball in 30 something years, and I can still, I don't really hear coaches yelling at me. I hear some of the lines of them saying other cats, right? And you're like, I don't want to be that cat, man. Let me keep working and let me keep moving forward. So you work with clients. Do you obviously, according to what you were saying about this client this morning, you give them a program, and that program is based on their goals or based on their body type or based on what?
Oh man, well, I like to just start at the super basics.
Okay.
I don't start them off on anything too extreme. I hook them up with like a workout plan that I've used before. I know it works, or one that we're all doing, and then I'll modify it according to their specific needs.
Okay.
And then I'll give them a basic nutrition plan, something that hits all the nutrient requirements. And if it's a woman client, for example, we're starting at what's the average active woman's necessary calories. So for a lot of women, it's around 2,000.
Right.
And this is the craziest thing is most women have tried dieting before, but the diets that they see online is like 500 calories or like 1,000 calories, and they're starving themselves. And then they start binge eating, or they lose 20 pounds and then gain it back, lose 30 pounds, gain more back.
Right.
And I'm like, start with this. And they're like, the ones that just trust me get the best results. Like they just like, I have no idea. I'll just do whatever you say. Those ones do the best. The other people are like, that's too much. That's not going to work. They don't do it. So the one that comes in and is like, I have no idea. I'm just going to do what you tell me. They're like, wow, this is a lot of food. I'm pretty full. Whoa, my inches are going down. I'm feeling more energy throughout the day. Right. I'm like, yeah, it's working. And then so let's say 2,000 calories is too much. Well, you can always subtract from that, but you might as well lose weight on 2,000 calories rather than trying to kill yourself.
Well, yeah, because when you get to the maintenance part, which is the next part we're going to talk about, when you get to the maintenance part, your body's not in shock going, oh, I got a bunch of extra calories. I need to go ahead and start storing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how do you when people have issues with the maintenance, is it because they stop working with you, or is it because they reach their goal and then they go back to normal? What happens there?
I think people that end up failing, like I think what happens is they lose a significant amount of weight and pretty rapidly, and then they're like, okay, I'm pretty happy here. And then they're like, okay, I'm good. I know how to do this now. And then
there you go.
They're like, and yeah, it's that I know. And then they leave, and then you're like, oh man, like
didn't have it.
Next time you see them, you're like, oh no.
You're like, oh, you need to come back. Yeah, we need to fix the maintenance part.
Yeah,
man. I'm guilty of it. It's just that in my past, when I've gotten in great shape, and I've done something aggressive to get in great shape, doing 2-a-days and, 1 lift and 1 cardio in the same day. Too old to do that now, but when I used to do that, and I got where I wanted, you get happy, you get comfortable, you're patting yourself on the back, and for me, I would end up back where I started, but it'd be like 2 years later. So it would just kind of slowly creep up on me. And so I stopped even doing the 2-a-days, because it's like, if you're not going to do 2-a-days the rest of your life, then you probably should try to figure out, like you said, how do you do what you need to do now, and then get where you need to be, and then slightly adjust as you move forward, because the maintenance is more important than the initial lose.
That's right, man. Yeah, maintaining is the best thing. And it helps if you have people around you that are also on the same path.
Similar
goals. Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, I know they're going to be at the gym. I better be at the gym. I know they're doing their diet. I better at least mostly be on mine.
So what do you think about, for every guru that says, oh, you should, let me ask you this question before I ask you that question.
Yeah.
So what % of successful fitness comes from working out compared to what you're putting in your mouth?
Man, I gotta say, I'm super pumped about the workout aspect of things.
Okay.
And I know you can't really get around the diet part, but I think the average person, and this is what helps people maintain the weight loss, they got to get as strong and as fit as possible.
Okay.
So their body's just like a machine. So when you eat more food, it's just fueling those muscles. It's just fueling that level of fitness and strength that you have.
Okay.
It's not putting on fat.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm not a professional, so I'm not stupid enough to challenge you. But I think that for most people that aren't going to put on that much muscle, they have got to focus as aggressively on that fork, because you can eat 2,000 of quality calories, or you can eat 2,000 crappy calories. And there are different calories, because they used to say, oh, calories a calorie. Like, bullshit, man. There's calories in apple pie and there's calories in steak, and 2 different calories.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that 100%. I feel like, people really got to dial in their nutrition. And that's a big thing too, is just creating those habits where it's like, no, I just eat, like, this is how I eat. Like, you don't even think of it as like, I'm on a strict diet.
Yeah, man.
Just what I'm
telling you. I knew I wanted to have you on, man, because that is so on point. There's no such thing as a diet. This is how I eat.
That's
right. When you get to your goal, then you say, okay, well, I need to adjust, how I'm eating, either the number of calories. I need to eat a little bit more to stay where I want to be. Do you use, because every person is different, and foods work in people different ways. Do you use different things for different people, or is pretty much you can keep everybody within a range using the same methods?
That's an awesome question. Yeah. So what I do is I use feedback.
Okay.
So I check in with my clients regularly, and I'm just trying to find out, like, well, how are you feeling energy wise? How are you feeling? Like, are you satiated? Are you full? Are you hungry? And some people might be like, stuff like, I feel bloated or something like that. But what have you been eating? Because sometimes even the healthy foods, like, they might be like broccoli makes them bloated or something.
Right.
Like, okay, we'll switch it up. Try some different vegetables that you like. Tell me if you like those. Like, oh, the bloating has gone away. Boom, there you go.
There you go.
Or some people are like, I don't like fish or something. Well, you don't have to eat that. You could have, chicken or beef or eggs, or you could just find stuff that you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what people like? Yeah. Excuses. People like excuses, man.
That's the thing. Like, if you can call yourself on your own bullshit, you're like, okay, well, I don't like this kind of food, but this is another food that does the same thing.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend in general? Now, I'm not asking for a specific program, but as people age, like myself, I used to play Division I football, so my knees hurt sometimes, my shoulder hurts a little bit sometimes, and I used to actually be a fitness instructor. I taught spin and kickboxing and some other things, and I don't do those things anymore. And I noticed that when I stopped, the most recent thing I stopped was teaching spin class. I didn't have that accountability anymore. I didn't have 35 people waiting for me in a room. That, man, I packed on 20 pounds doing the same thing, eating the same thing, but I wasn't doing the cardio anymore. So then I had to be aggressive and figure it out for myself. But for the people not like me, I have a vast background of tracking what works and what doesn't work and testing things. So I know what works for me. I just had to figure out how to replace that spin, that spin burn, which I was able to do, thank goodness. But for let's say for older people, what do you recommend that they do if they're just getting started, other than hire somebody? I mean, obviously you need to go find somebody that you can work with.
Oh yeah. Well, for an older person, I mean, you just got to start with like the most easiest, lightest stuff you could do and just slowly build up. Like even walking makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it's the mindset too. Like when you go for a walk, you come up with your best thoughts, best ideas.
Right.
I mean, you might come up with like a life-changing idea while you're going for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And that mindset might be what keeps you in shape for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Like, who knows? You could be listening to a podcast while you're walking.
No, I agree, man. I think that's excellent advice, for people. And, most people think that if they're not running, if they're not, dripping with sweat, they're not working out. And it's not true.
I used to be that. I used to be exactly that. I couldn't handle it. Even now, like I'm doing the 75 hard. I know you're talking about 75 hard.
Yeah.
I have a hard time counting a walk. But if I'm like, my body's beat, I will count the walk as a workout. Yeah. But I'll do a lot of
So what day are you on, man? I need to know what day you on. I'm on day 1.
I think it's like 39 or something right now. I think I'm on like day 39 or day 40 right now.
All right. So for the people listening that don't know about 75 hard, tell them the basics.
Oh man. So the basics is you're doing 2 workouts a day, 1 inside, 1 outside. It has to be at least 45 minutes and it can't be back to back. You're drinking a gallon of water a day. You're reading 10 pages of a book. Has to be like a personal development kind of a book.
Hey, there you go.
You know what I'm talking about? I've been reading a lot of Stoic philosophy, a lot of Derick Gant. I got that on the go. And what else? You have to follow a diet every day, no deviations. So as soon as if you mess up on your diet, you have to go back to day 1. If you mess up on any of the things, you have to go back to day 1, and you got to do a progress pick every day as well.
So that was my question, to be honest, was like, have you had to go back or you've been good?
Oh, I've tried 75 a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you've tried it before and you were successful or you weren't successful?
No, I failed myself. One time I blatantly failed because I had I missed my picture.
Dude, I told somebody today, I was like, you know what? And I'll talk about our challenge, but I said, if I did 75 hard, I said, what would get me? It would be the picture. I would forget to do
That's it. Oh man. It's a picture.
That's crazy. The simplest thing, the picture.
The simplest thing. But that's what it's trying to teach us, is like, don't lose track of these details.
Right.
I think you were just talking about that in this book I was just reading. The details is what'll get you.
The details, man.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is 75 soft.
There you go.
So our rules are, you don't have to worry about the picture. I did encourage everybody, they should probably take one once a week just so they can see and encourage themselves. But ours is read 15 minutes a day versus 10 pages. So read 15 minutes a day, do 20 minutes of quiet times. That quiet time could be prayer, meditation, but just getting, like you were talking about, walking and just getting that amazing idea. So 20 minutes of quiet time. You have to follow a meal plan. I hate the word diet. Follow a diet, follow a meal plan. And you gotta get a certain amount of steps in. Now, I don't tell people how many steps. I just tell them, like, for instance, with me, this is going to be so bad, dude. So you can judge me if you want to, but
no.
I sit behind a desk. So I looked at, when I started doing this, I said, well, I don't even know how many steps I get. I looked, it said 2,700 on average. I was like, wow, that's low. That is so pitiful. So for me, what I did was I said, okay, well, that's about 3,000. So I'm going to double my steps. So I have to get in 6,000 steps a day. So, so we're not doing the 2 a days because most people, now see, you're alpha bro, right? 75 hard is for alpha MFers, okay? So I get it. And I would have done it back in the day, but I'm like, man, I can't do 2 45-minute workouts. I wouldn't be able to get out of bed. My knees would hurt. My back would hurt. So you do what you can. But so we started that. And then the other thing we did was we let clients pick. So they can pick 30 days, 60 days, or 75 days. So they can pick which of, now I got all my guys and a couple of the ladies, we're all doing 75. So we have a little group inside the group. We're doing the 75. And now, since we don't have to do the picture, I'm guessing what's going to get me is the meal because my refrigerator's empty. So I'm like, I might not just eat, and that doesn't count either, right? Just skipping food don't count unless you intentionally are fasting, So I'm gonna make it because I'm leading it, so I have to make it.
That's right. That's that accountability. Yeah.
So, well, man, you're on day 39 or so, and I know that you're gonna finish this time so that you can say, "Hey, I did this." So, when do you decide to cut? A lot of your pictures, you're just completely ripped.
Yeah.
So when do you decide? Do you do competitions or you just do it for your brand? What do you, when do you decide you just want to go ahead and shock the world? And when do you want to be more like normal?
Dude, I don't know. So this is kind of crazy. I've been figuring this out a little bit while I'm doing 75. I mean, I gave myself a little bit of leeway to eat the right foods, but vary the portion sizes or the amount of meals in a day.
Okay.
And this has been a game changer for me because I think I've always been under eating.
I heard about under eating.
Yeah. Well, so I've been dieting a lot. Like I just competed earlier this year, and that could throw a lot of people way off. Like they struggle with that post competition and everything like that.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Which I did a bit too, but I kind of knew what I was getting myself into.
Right. So do you do competitions regularly, like every year or?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. Like, so this is the thing. Like, I don't know what it is, man. I'm just intense with it. Like, I just always want to push myself, and I always want to hit this next level and do something. And
that's dope, man.
Then when the competition comes up, somebody's like, "Hey, you should compete," and I'm just like in that intense mindset, like, just sign me up, let's do it.
Right.
Not knowing you just signed yourself up for this like death march.
Hey man, 75 hard is easy compared to what you have to do when competition, man.
Here's the thing though, with the 75 hard, the difficult thing is you can't miss anything any day.
Right.
So it's like I already read books, I already work out a lot, but like maybe one day I only do one workout, or one day I only read a couple pages.
Right.
That doesn't count. It's gotta be this, and you can't miss.
Well, hey, folks, Calvin puts his content on Instagram, and you can find him at calvin.tedesko on IG. Go follow him. Go check him out. And for those of you that, do you do online coaching? That's what I was going to ask you, because I know you live in British Columbia, and, you can post this, and the people that listen from British Columbia can go check him out. But do you coach online as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Everything that we do can be done online. We can even work through apps and stuff like that. All the workout programs and nutrition programs. Okay. And even the people in our community are all accessible online.
Excellent. So tell us about your community, because you keep referring to it. So tell us about the community.
So this is just something I've been building over the years, man. Like, here's the one way I like to put it is like, you ever have like a friend that wants to come work out with you at the gym or something like that?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I'll meet you here, 8:00, Monday or whatever. They're like, cool. And you get there and you're like, where is he? What happened?
Right.
You had that happen to you like a few times, or somebody will come work out with you a couple times and then you never see him again. They're like, what happened? But every once in a while you get that like one solid individual that like shows up no matter what. Even if you don't make it, they're still going to be there. Yep. I mean, they're calling you like, hey, we go to the gym at this time, and they're really pushing you, and you guys are pushing each other. You feed off that energy.
And then what I've done
over the years,
you have that online as well. In some aspects, you have that support online.
Absolutely. So we do a weekly coaching call, and we also have group chats and stuff where we stay in touch. But yeah, a big part of our group is online.
Excellent.
But yeah, basically what I've been able to do is accumulate over time those type of solid individuals who just show up, are motivated, are like team players, and just want to push each other. Like that's why we're doing all these 75 hard 8-week challenges.
I was going to say, my idea.
It was not my idea to do 75.
That's hilarious. Your community doesn't have a cross on the wall at home. They got a picture of David Goggins.
They're staying crazy with it. But man, the most positive, uplifting people I've ever met.
Good. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I enjoyed it, man. We're going to post all your contact information, and we're going to encourage people to come and check you out. You have an amazing story, and it's so impactful for so many people who can choose to give up versus keep pushing. I tell you what, man, hold on. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
All right. Listen, I told you I was watching that documentary on George Foreman, and Calvin's story is so similar and is so powerful for so many young people and people, period, who start and stop. And you saw him, he was talking about the 75 hard, and he says, hey, I've done it a few other times before and I didn't make it, but it didn't stop him from doing it again. It didn't stop him from moving forward. And then he surrounded himself with the right people, and together they build the momentum to elevate and really get where they're going. Now we're going to go backwards and listen to a couple tips. He says, the people that succeed are the ones that show up. He didn't say lift the most. He didn't say run the fastest. He didn't say go the hardest. He said the ones that show up are the ones that do the best. And then he said the ones that are accountable to themselves, they have radical, I've said this to you before, radical ownership for their own bullshit. When they call bullshit on themselves, then those are the ones that rise to the top. Those are the 24K people, because they are calling themselves to the table and they're saying, look, this is not acceptable. This isn't good enough. This is only 18 karat. This is only 14 karat, and we need 24 karat life. That's what we need. So I encourage you, we're dropping his information. Again, you can reach him on Instagram at calvin.tedesco, Tedesco. And you can follow him. He'll reach out to you. He'll reach back if you reach out to him, and you can improve your life. Listen, did you hear what he said? You got to control what you can control. And the one thing you can control is getting up, going to work out, and getting stronger, getting wiser. It overcomes a lot of other mistakes. I'm Derick Gant. I want you to be your best, bring your best, leave nothing to chance. Now listen, don't forget to like and subscribe. The more people that comment, that like and subscribe and engage, encourage other people, because more people get to see this as we move and go and grow together. Hey, be well.